Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm Buddy Lindsay, and today let's go over building this shed. This is something I have spent several nights building, just doing all the different pieces. And then this morning I got out here with my wife and we put up the rest of it in about 4.5 to 5 hours. And so I think it turned out pretty good. The main reason I got this shed is because it was cheaper than building one out of wood, believe it or not. So with that, let's get into building it. So let's go ahead and get this thing put together. Just fair warning, it might take a couple of days because I can only work on this in the evening. This isn't hard to put together, it's just gonna take some time. The first thing is, this is gonna come in 2 boxes. Come on this box. It came on a pallet as well, so you get some free pallet wood. And then it came with this box over here stacked on top. This was pretty heavy, but we were able to get it out of the back of my truck, which is a little bit lifted, by pulling this off first and then pulling this one off with the pallet, and it worked just fine. We had them loaded up with a forklift at the place. So with that in mind, one thing to note, I did take the boxes off, or the tops off, to be able to find the instructions, and it is in this box, in box number 2, and it only says basically in one place right here on the side. I wish they would have put a big old sticker on top that says instructions here, because I didn't know where they were and I didn't see that little note right there. So the instructions are in the top box, box 2 of 2, just so that you can get it out. So with that in mind, here they are, and let's go through them a little bit. One thing I will say about these Lifetime sheds is they have assembly instructions in video format on YouTube. This one, it took about 30 minutes to get through the video, and it was actually pretty simple. So let's see how it goes. They went through a lot of the steps, but I want to show some of the things that they didn't show you in the video. One of the first things to note is you need to put this on a platform, either wood or cement, and we'll get to that at another time. Let's just go ahead and get a few of the things put together that we can do in the shop, and then later we can carry those out to the actual site of where this is going to go, because I still have to do some prep work out there outside of even putting the platform. So these are the instructions. Let's get going. I actually think the first thing I need to do is get rid of these cardboard boxes, box tops, so I can actually see what is going on in here. I just probably need to remember this is box 1, box 2, so that if it mentions what box it's in, actually grab it out of the right one. So we have a roof here, looks like we have walls there, probably everything else underneath. Let's see. So the first thing we want to assemble is the trusses. The instructions do not say which box it's in, but maybe it's in that box down there that I just saw. This is part of what I wanted to show you, because I don't know where some of this stuff is, and I got to figure that out. So here's a box, standalone. It's 98 degrees in here, so I got to stay hydrated. Oh, okay, here we go. Whoa. Whoops. So this is a window. These are windows, so we're gonna put those over there. Okay, these are shims for the doors. This is tape for the windows. Pretty sure this is for the trusses. Bag DSS. And yep, and on here on the instructions, bag DSS, EDH. So cool. These are well labeled. I have to say, building furniture is getting a lot easier when they label the things properly. What? Oh, they missed an opportunity. Could have done FOX. Okay, I'm gonna stop being dumb. These are the skylights. And these are for the peak of the roof on the ends. Bet it's under that. Oh. All right, here we go. We got a roof piece. If I'd have looked at the instructions, bag GQQ, should have known. I wasn't expecting it to be in a box, but it says box, even though this is back. GQQ. So this is for the trusses. Oh my gosh, this is actually really heavy. Okay. These are for the door. So we don't need to worry about these right now. I'm just gonna put them in the side of this box here. I don't know. Okay, so this is DSR. Right, another one like that. Yep, I think this is it. Ah, it's hiding. There we go. All right, so for this part, you're gonna need to drill it with a nut driver. You need a 3/8 inch end wrench, 7/16, and a screwdriver. You need 2 of these, and whoa, 1 of these. And you're gonna need your DSS bag. So you're gonna want this part, these things up, because this is gonna go against, so you want these flared out parts, you're gonna want that up, because that's gonna go against the roof. You're gonna do that on both sides. See, I about did it backwards. And I about did it on the wrong side, because there's only screw holes on one side. That's the nice thing. So it's going to guide you. Make sure you do it right. That's nice. They have these separated into 2 box, 1 for each truss. I bet this is for one of the trusses too. So this is the hardware that you actually get. Here's your screws that are going to go through the truss up there, and then your other components. But you have these little black knobs that goes on into these. You have a couple of these, and then this is going to go on here, I'm pretty sure. So those are kind of the hardware for this step. On all of this right now, I'm just loosely putting it on, and then I'm going to tighten it all down, because I just want to make sure, get everything in here. Alright. So one thing they have in the videos is they have a thing that goes on the screwdriver, and then they have a pair of pliers here. You just lock it in. That way you can get up underneath here. At first I thought it was really weird, and then when I actually saw them use it, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Alright, trusses done. And that's 2 trusses. Now we're ready to move on to the next section. So the next section we're going to go over is the peak, and we need the GQP bag. And this stuff is in box 1. I went ahead and dug it out. It was a little bit underneath the first couple of items, which was, I think, a roof pieces there and a roof piece there, and then I was able to get to it. So this thing is broken out into 2 sections here, one here, one here. I went ahead and laid them together. They lay over in a certain way. This, because it has the arch right here, I think is going to be the doorway, if I'm not mistaken, and is going to have this lovely bar. They're kind of annoying, but this has a lot more holes on it on this side, and then you want this dented piece, because I think this is where the door is going to go up into it. And this will eventually just lay down like this, and it'll line up to holes on this side. A note about these, and making sure you grab the right ones, one is the arches match. The other is on the door itself. In this case it has AGH, and this is for the back, and this one has AGI. On this section, we have EVZ, and I think that's EVY, if I'm not mistaken. Double check that in the instructions for sure. Definitely go through the instructions. But this is E's and that's A's. That's one way you can keep it together and make sure you do the right one. So with that in mind, I think all we should need is these tools according to the directions. So let's get started putting it together. So these square tubes have these caps going on. I'm gonna go ahead and put these on. I hope I don't regret this, but I don't want to lose them either. Come on! Got it started. There we go. I don't think that's coming out. I don't think I need anything because it just goes to the end there. Kind of jumping ahead a tiny, teensy tiny bit. We'll find out together. There we go. We got it. Might be a good idea to actually figure out what bolts go where first. Since I'm working backwards, I got a little confused. Something to note. So you're gonna have these short screws that are like this, and you need 4 of them for the back side door and 2 of them for the one with the arch. That's where I was getting lost. Then we have these funky little cutoff ones, 2 of those that's gonna go on there as well. So I will need a 3/8 inch wrench. So we'll need a wrench too. It's good to figure things out. Do I need to punch a hole in that? What if I do? So I got the little smaller one for the top side. This is weird. That screwed through. It's just weird. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little weirded out on this one because it doesn't make sense. But I'm not a designer of this thing. Put that on. We'll start this one. Put this one on. Start it. Use our wrench. There we go. All right, so the next part is this. This is ENH. Oh, okay. It's right here. Fell over. Okay. So we gotta line up this little mesh thing that I guess is supposed to prevent wasps from getting in on the holes. It's pre-cut with holes. E and H goes with the E's, just like over there with the A's, and that one's an A as well. So I'm gonna line this up, and it looks like this has 3 screw holes right here and 2 there, and the 3 is on top. So we've got to line it up there, and then this will set it down carefully ish. I don't know here. I guess it's right. That's probably correct, but so I feel a little more safe about it. I'm going to start it on this one. There. Now that it's started, I can grab it. Drop those for a second. All right. We will totally gonna screw this up. Okay, that's good. That one's good. Let's see how we do. Okay, I think we got it. Nope, that one didn't go right. I think we did it. I think we got it. Oh, shoot. Shoot, shoot, shoot. A Jeff Goldblum moment of just because you can doesn't mean you should. I'm touching that. I think we got it. We'll find out long term. But that part's done. Now we're ready to put this. So again, this goes here with the blunt end down. So we have these bigger ones, and they're gonna go on these here and these. Then we have two with nuts that are gonna go right here. So let's go ahead and get these screwed in. I'm gonna start here because it's kind of in the center, and that'll help sync everything up. There. I'm just trying to make sure it's centered kind of on the holes so that it all looks uniform. You don't have to do that. And we get our washer and our nut. Awesome. One peak is done. So something I just figured out, I goofed on the other one. It's not like detrimental that it's going to destroy the whole thing, but these holes here I should have used a washer on. Oh well. I'd be nervous to take them out and redo them, to be honest with you. All right, so it is currently 105 degrees in here, so it's really warm, so I want to keep today light. The next thing we have to do is 2 doors in the setup process, and then we're actually ready to stand everything up and get going on that. But before that, we have to get done with the platform, and I'm going to build it out of wood. I actually redid the plans initially so that I could be able to load this thing up into the back of a trailer when I actually move. So looking at the plans, you have the rafters going here, or the supports going across. They're 16-inch on center to be able to lay plywood properly. I actually had redone the plans because I was expecting the long, like in my mind, the long end this way was actually going front to back with the shed. It is not. It's actually going side to side. And so I had to plan it so that everything goes that way so I could yank the thing up onto the back of a trailer at some point in the future. If you want to do that, keep the plans the way they are, because the front is here and the side is here, and you would back a trailer up this direction to be able to load it up onto something, and then you can drag across those if you need to. So just something to keep in mind whenever looking at this. I actually had redone the plan, so if you do want to switch them, you want 7 85 and 3/16 inch boards and 2 93 and 3/4 inch boards. So that's something that happened. I wanted to be able to bring that up. So let's get ahead going and cut some wood. And I think we're probably going to call it good for tonight. All right, so we have basically 2 sides boards to cut. We need a 90 and 3/4 board. We need 7 of those. And then we also need an 88 and 3/16 inch board, and we need 2 of those. So let's get cutting. So something that you want to do on your boards is kind of the first thing is you want to kind of trim off the edge, because all these edges aren't necessarily completely straight. So if we'll run it through the miter saw first, we can get a straight edge on this, and then when we cut the other end, we know we are mostly square. Something I always make sure to do is double check that what I cut is the measurement I expect. Here's the saw blade. So let's say you don't do a lot of cutting and you want to try to get that perfect measurement. So in this case, 90 3/4 inches. I used to be totally confused at where on the saw blade to cut. I'm like, well, maybe I need to guess like straight down the center and I need to cut that right on the line that's cut. That's not a good way to do it because you're going to go one or the other which way. This is called the kerf, the width of this blade point right here, and that's usually 1/8 of an inch thick. So if you cut right down the line, you might be 1/16 of an inch off every time on the side, on one side or the other. Or if you don't get it perfect, you're just going to be off. So what you want to do is you want to cut a line and you want to measure, hey, on that line, whichever side of the blade you want it to be needs to be that full measurement. So in this case, I'm doing 90 3/4 inches that way. So I'll line up with the tape measure on one of these teeth right here. So these alternate. There's the pointy end and then the pointy end's on this side. Pointy end, pointy end. So I'll get one of those and I'll line that up perfectly with the line that I'm doing or on the line with the tape measure so that I know exactly where it's going to actually cut on the board. So I make sure that's where the length is going to be to the point. And once I figured that out, my cuts got a whole lot better and I got a whole lot more precise. So if you don't do a lot of woodworking, that's a good way to measure it. So again, I'm bringing it down. I'm finding a point to measure on and I'm just ever so slightly scooting it over. Boom. That point on the blade is lined up on the line on there, so I think we're good to go. And again, I measure my board and we're at 90 3/4 exactly. And all of those boards are within 1/16 of an inch off, and on this kind of a project, that doesn't really matter. All right, we're on to our final two boards and they are 88 3/16. So one thing I'm not sure like what kind of a tape measure you use, but sometimes finding those markings can be kind of hard. So if you'll look, I have a fast cap tape measure. This is my favorite tape measure. I have multiples, but on here, if it'll focus, let's see if I can. If you look really closely here, you see the red markings. Those are for the 16ths. Black is actually marked at like 7/8, 3/4, 5/8, everything like that, so that you actually get that measure 1/2. And then again, the red is your 16ths instead of just trying to count the little ticks. Makes it a lot easier. Plus, you have the same measurements on both sides, and that is really, really handy. Plus, one of my other favorite features is you have a notepad right here, so you can write down measurements and erase it later. So this is one of my favorite tape measures, especially for that 16th inch. I'll leave a link down in the description so you can get one too if you're so inclined. We're done cutting the 2x4s. On the next step, we're going to lay out the deck and get it set up. So if you've never put together a floor like this and tried to do 16-inch on centers or done any framing, there's actually one really cool little thing you can do. Is you can measure from this side over here over to this point here, and you want that to be 15 1/4 inches. Then the next thing you can do is you can measure from this part of the board over 16 inches, and you should be able to get 16-inch on center. So when we compare measuring the middle of this board to the middle of this board, you can see we get 16-inch on centers. Then the final important part is when you measure all the way down from the other end, you want the center, the 48-inch on center, to be right there in the middle of that 2x4, so that when you put that plywood down, it fits just right. So the next thing we have to do is we have to get this cut to the width of that. So we're going to cut this longwise. And I went and double checked the actual deck instead of just relying on the plans of the length. And in this case, it was 93 3/4, and that's exactly what we need it to be. Actually, it was like a 1/16 of an inch long, but we're not going to worry about that. So we're going to do a mark at 93 3/4 here. And if you'll notice, this is most of the board. So when cutting with a circular saw or a track saw, which is what I'm going to use, you want, again, just like on the miter saw, make sure you understand where the blade is going to be. In this case, I want to make sure the blade is on the line, but I want to make sure that side of that blade is also right there where it's going to be on. In this case, since I put the mark here, I want it on this side of the line and not this side, so I get that perfect cut. One of the nice things about a track saw is you can measure up the line based on this track itself, and you know it's going to line up where you want it to be, and you just cut along it, and you can just cut along. You don't have to worry about following a line. If you don't have a track saw, that's okay. Circular saw will do just fine. Used one for a long time. Finally got a track saw. It's pretty awesome. You also want to make sure your plunge depth is deep enough when you go down, so that you actually cut all the way through. That should be good. So you should have about that much left over. So let's double check our measurement. 93 3/4. 93 3/4. We're ready to go put it on. One of the downsides of this board is it's a treated piece of plywood 3/4 inches thick. So it's heavy. Nice thing is it's not hard to put down. All right, now that we have it over here, let's get it in place and screwed in. So we know it's going to go halfway there. So we should just be able to get it lined up. So we're square. And if you look on down there, it is centered up. So now, push it slightly this way. Corners are good, side is good, and we're down the center there. So to be honest, I don't know if there is a good strategy for how to screw all of this in the proper way. Best thing I know to do is just start in the corners, and then we can splay out from there. But the corners at least should hold it into place, so that we can then move on and do the rest. I do like to try to put pressure in various areas so it pushes everything down. So see how it moved down like that when I walked across? There we go. So we should be good on that. Something you can also do to know where to screw in along the length of it in the middle where you can't see it very well is to put a screw in the side 2x4 here where your other screws are, so that you can know where to do the length. It's like this. I shouldn't have done them where I did them, but now we're good. We have one at each 2x4, so if I'll just follow the center of that, I should be good. And if I'm being honest, I don't know how many to do, so I'm just going to do 3 down well, yeah, 3. We'll split the difference and then split the difference again. So for this one, I want to tweak it a little. So this 2x4 was sticking out a little, so we want to go ahead and push it in so it's flush. So now we need to cut the board for this piece here. Well, we know what the measurement should be from the plans. We should go ahead and measure what it really is, just to make sure that we get the right length. So we're just going to measure here. Just grab the corner there slightly, come off, and looks like we need exactly 40 inches on this side. Now we know this should be 93 1/4, but again, let's go ahead and double check. So 93 3/4. It's actually like 1/8 of an inch longer, but we're just gonna go with it. .93 3/4. Awesome. go ahead and check this again. And 40 and an eighth. So, right? I just looked at the eighth. I didn't actually look at the number. 40 and an eighth. So it's 40 and an eighth from the edge over. So now we know what we need to cut. So one thing about my track saw is it does not go 8 feet. So what I have to do is I have to put multiple marks on here so that I know where to line up the track for sure. And apparently putting that on the dark wood doesn't work well. So I'm doing it one there, here. This way I'll start the cut here. I'll stop most of the way over on the track. Then I'll stop, flip the track over, and then finish out the cut. And so I want to make sure I still have good marks, so that we're not going to put it all the way, one all the way there and one all the way here. We need our intermediate marks too. So I also have not forgotten we need to cut this as well, but we'll handle that after we get this cut. That way there's just a little less to cut. Not by a lot, but at least some. The other thing that's good to note is where do you want your track? So I could come down here and do it on this side and cut. See, I already lost my marks here. Here we go, here and here. And now we're gonna go here. And if we're pushing down on this side, this is the part that needs to fall off. Well, that can lead to inaccuracies because this is gonna be super bendy. So what we actually wanna do is put this track or your circular saw on this, the bigger part of the board, so that it doesn't bend as flex as much and it gives you a more solid cut. Okay. Now, let's go here. So what we'll do is we'll line it up a lot with this previous part of the cut so that we have a good line from where we've been. And we'll line it up on the other mark there. There we go. There we go. Look at that. If you're a woodworker and you're on the fence about whether to buy a track saw, do it. It's totally worth it. One thing we're going to do, that's the factory edge. And on plywood, that's a pretty good indicator. So we're going to put that against the factory edge of that one over there. So hopefully it gets a better butt up. And then this part I cut is going to be on the front and on the overhang. You'll see in a second. So the bottom here is the factory edge, and the side here is the factory edge. So we're gonna lay it cut end that way. So now technically, or conceivably, when I go to line this up, it should be a fairly perfect seam. Theoretically. There we go, we got a good edge over here. Good and lined up over there. So I should be able to pull this one in and push it over. All the dimensions are correct. This is going to fit well. I just got to play with it. Okay, let's screw in the corner over here. So this corner's lined up pretty good. Something went wrong somewhere, and it's not quite perfect. But this is good enough for what we're doing. I mean, this is just a shed. And there's going to be a layer here anyway, so I think we'll be good. So with that, the platform is done and we are ready to put a shed on this thing as far as the platform is concerned. There were a few mistakes, got a little overhang there. This isn't quite fitting, you know, as good as I want. the stones like aren't doing 100% of what I want, but that's okay. It's mostly level, like within, like I said, 1/8 of an inch all the way across, so we should be good. And then, you know, we got a platform going on top of this, so when it comes to this kind of work, sometimes you don't need find woodworking quality. So don't beat yourself up if you make a little mistake here and there. This will be just fine. So with that in mind, let's jump to getting the doors put together so we can build this thing first thing in the morning. So something I missed, and I want to go ahead and bring it up, is these yellow pages, at least in mine, you might look around, they actually have like what box what is in. So up here, top corner, you have a box with the label on it. And so in this case, that means box 1, which is this one here, will have my doors in it, both left and right. It had the roof, and then I'm thinking that's the flooring. And then in 2, yeah, is all of the side panels and parts of the roofing as well. So yeah, that would have saved me some time of figuring things out. So now you know. All right, so for part 4, we've got to put together the left-hand door. So let's go through what we need. You're going to need a bag with DHL. That's going to have a lot of the screws in it. You're going to have your EOW, which is going to have a lot of your door hardware. You have some butyl tape that's going to go around for the window. Your tools that you're going to need. Screwdriver, that, and that. And so that should be good on tools. And then you're going to need the door, the BDJ door. And yeah, so that should be everything for this door. Let's go ahead and pull this one out too. So the first thing is to put this square tube in this hole. Note that the hole here needs to go up, and then we're just gonna shove it through. And then these two need to be up because they're gonna, that looks damaged almost. I think that is, oh yeah, that's a manufacturing thing, because if you look in here you see a little extra there. But these two are gonna be for the door on the side, in the middle there. So this is, so yeah, like this is just got to beat the snot out of it. Okay, we got to put our cap on. Unfortunately, like, yeah, see, that's stupid. Okay, that was dumb in the instructions. So it said get it into about here and then put that cap on, but obviously, as you just said, as you're pounding it in, it just breaks the bottom of the thing. So like, that was dumb. Don't do that. Wait to get it to the end and then put it in. Some extra plastic there. So at the top and bottom of the door, you're going to have these divots here. You're going to use the drill bit that was provided, and we're going to drill into it, but we're not going to go all the way through. You're going to go through the metal, but not all the way through the other side and poke a hole. It's a little nerve-wracking, but when you feel it pop through and hit the other end, just stop. Do this one now. Let's talk about these. These are a bit annoying. You have a side that says down and a side that says up, down and up. So I was like, oh, well, the up needs to point up, but they both go the same direction. And so since one goes at the top and one goes at the bottom, I'm like, what? What they mean is down is the downside of the door and up is the upper side of this door. So we'll put this one down. This should latch into place into the bottom, and then your latch is going to just fit on there like that. So here we have the upside. I think that's going to go that way like that. So now we go to the upside. Let's see, this should just click into place like that. The holes will line up and you'll go over there, and then you have kind of self-tapping screws that you'll screw in there, top and bottom. There we go. I was hoping it'd grab a little easier, but it was kind of fighting me. The handle goes here. You'll have 2 long screws and 1 short screw. Goes down in there, and then the handle is on the other side. It's super simple. You just put 2 pieces together, screw those in, and boom. Now we're supposed to put this rod through here. So let's see if this goes any better. And yep, the other side. What in the world? Supposed to push it all the way through until, whoop, so you have a couple inches out the bottom. We have more than a couple inches. There, that's probably good. And then we'll adjust it later, but I think we're going to be connecting 2 pieces down here, and so that's why it needs that excess there. Okay, now for the part that really kind of makes me nervous, and that is doing the window. First we have this butyl tape here that will go around this edge in. Then we'll take the window, put it on there, and then screw a whole bunch of screws into it. So, like, I feel like that's an overabundance of screws, but that's what they call for. So that's what we'll do. One of the things is the instructions specifically call to start up in this corner here and proceed down. Again, like, this just makes me nervous. Here we go. Oh, see, it's popping up over here. That's why. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're going to take this off. Better people than me can have done it with the stuff on there, but I am not them. Okay, and then we'll do a 90-degree here. I mean, I guess one reason to have a whole bunch of screws, because like right there, and right there, and right there, and right there, and right there, is it's going to put a lot of downward pressure on this butyl tape and cause it to really do a seal. So I guess it's like, in a sense, an overabundance of caution in the design of this. And that's actually kind of one of the interesting things about these sheds, is the amount of design work that goes into it to make sure all the holes line up. Because you not only have to consider, you need to create these for the least common denominator people to put together, or not necessarily least common, but at least the majority of people are able to put it together. But you also have shipping that you got to take care of, packaging, and then you've got costs. You have production of this thing. I mean, this is all injection molded, and injection molds are super expensive to get made, and they wear out after a while. So you have to think of that, plus you have to think of weight. Then you have to think of rigidity. That's why there's a lot of this stuff in place. That's why it was super interesting to me that there's holes everywhere to do things, especially in the piping, but these here actually required you to drill holes. So they included the drill bit, and so that was super interesting for that. I wonder kind of what the reasoning behind that was. Dadgum. Stuff is not coming off my fingers. Anyway, that was Buddy's musings on the production and design aspect of these sheds. All right, cool. Open this up. This is a terrible job. That's why we're going to rely on the designers to have done their job. Looking at it, it goes in here like this. It looks like it fits in a perfect spot. So let us figure out how to get this stuff off. You know, I'd kind of thought about leaving this film on both sides so that it could stay opaque, but the issue is I don't know how well it'll hold up. I kind of feel like this was designed so this side would do fine. Actually, I don't think that comes off now that I look at it. Does it? Oh, I think it does. But I wonder if you can leave it on to have opaque. But like, what is the lifespan of this, I wonder? There we go. I'm going to need to Windex the crap out of it later because I get my fingerprints off. But I guess that's not true because right here on the corners is where I'm grabbing it, and that doesn't matter there. Okay, so it's mostly lined up well. Let's watch this seam as we screw it in. This will be interesting. So this is actually going to punch through plastic. There we go. You do the corners first. Missed a corner. Just got it. And with that, the first door is done. Awesome. All right, let's put it to the side. I will say on the butyl tape, it did a pretty good job of getting down in there and kind of like sealing it up. But there were a couple spots I'm like, I don't know how you're gonna do. We'll see. I don't know how that's gonna do. We'll see. So we've got to get this thing in here. So just like the last one, want the hole going towards the top. Get it past. Then you want these pointing up this way because it's going to go just like in the other one. There we go. This one's sliding in a lot better. So let's go here. We'll go ahead and, whoops, put the cap on. Okay. That should be flush. Let me double check. Holes here. Yep, I can see daylight through those holes, so we should be good. The next thing we have to do is we have this knobby here for this bolt, this little screw here, and this is going to penetrate through this and the pole. There we go. That's going to secure it in place, and we're good for that. Okay, so this one is kind of an annoying one. First you have this bar. Going to go in here because it's going to slide back and forth. Then we have the bracket just like on the other one, and this side is going to go the in that way. Then you have the long screws with the square at the top there, and so those are going to go in the back. Get them lined up right. They've got to actually, in this case, push through some plastic that's left over from the manufacturing process. And then you have these other little ones that'll go on the front side. And that just slides in. That's not going through a bar, so it's not as tough. So for the front two, these two smaller washers and smaller lock nuts. So those are going to go on. And we'll tighten that in a second. And for the back part, you have bigger washer and bigger nut. There we go. So in these, we can take advantage of power. Okay, and then this one. I don't have anything for this, so we'll just do this. There we go. Because this goes through the metal bar. There we go. Boom. Good. Okay, it's time for this handle. So, again, this clips together. It's going to go up under here. But we have a nice little catch. We got to do that there. So this is the exact same as the other one except for this thing. So we're going to shove these through the hole just to get started. Got to do the washer on this one. Shove that through the hole. And then we'll just use our handle because it slides most of the way over. That's the weird thing about this. And then we'll kind of slide that in place, I'm guessing. Well, anyway, let's do this. Okay, now, okay, and screw this. There we go. All right, that's good. All right, the next part is we need to do the tube. So we gotta face it that direction. Take the tube, and it's the same. It's just the same deal. We gotta shove it through till there's a couple inches out the bottom for whatever we're gonna do there. There we go. That part's done. All right, so we're gonna start off this time with it separated, or separating. And again, the instructions recommend going this direction and starting in this corner, so that's what we'll do. I don't know if that's, like, what's weird is in some of these types of things, and I've done it myself in some designs of stuff, is you have things that you know about, so you do instructions a specific way so that you can avoid future problems. However, sometimes that's just the way you recommend it because you know somebody's going to ask the question. And so you just tell them to do it a certain way. This feels like a situation where you're just telling them to do it a specific direction because you want to avoid the question. Because in reality, all you're doing is a seal. And as long as you do this continuous bead, and I'm sure you could try to explain that, just make sure you do a continuous bead, someone's still going to be like, someone's still going to mess it up. Like, somebody always messes it up. So that's why they give a specific direction. Because in reality, I could go this direction and it would accomplish the same thing. I could actually start in all the different corners. I can see starting it up in this corner because it's the high point. And if you started it down in this corner, maybe water went in, that could be a leak point. So there is that. But if you started in this corner, if you started anywhere at the top, you could resolve that issue. In fact, like starting it maybe right here in the center might be a good point as long as you connect the two ends and have a little bit of overlap like this. Anyway, I don't know. My musings for butyl tape during that. All right, there we go. Uh-oh. Putting it in, oh, funky. All right. I think we're good mostly. see here it's picking up, but when we go to put this in, squishes it down. But like, I feel like that's sticking up a little too much too. So like, I don't know. So again, you know, you got something here that squishes it, but there's still some like spots right there. See, water can pool right there if you're not careful. I don't know. Doesn't really matter, it's a shed. It's just interesting thoughts. If you're a designer of this thing or anyone similar and you're hearing my comments, please shoot me a line or a comment and let me know maybe some answers to some of this stuff, because I'd be super curious. And with that, door number 2 is done. I'm just going to leave it like this for tonight, because tomorrow we're going to go put it together. So right here this morning, ready to do the platform. We have 3 sections here. Make sure you know which way you want everything to go. There are circles here on the long side so that you know, hey, I can either put the door over this way or I can put the door that way. In our case, we're going to put it that way to go into our backyard. You're going to need, for this section, the bag BQH. It looks like this. Has these little things in it that you'll use. So to connect these, we're just going to, one way or another, this will, it's supposed to clip in there, but it doesn't seem to be clipping. It's already freaking hot. Ah. I guess that's in it. Like, it just doesn't.
It's not clicking.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like it's 100, you know, just 100% good.
Man, 5 years ago we were in Alabama.
Okay, that didn't go as smoothly as I thought it should, but I guess we're here now. So right here and here, there's these nubs. Don't mistake them for nubs here that looks like it's wood, nails, a faux thing. So. So the last step is you have these parts right here. They're going to go underneath that and point up. So you have this circle here and this circle here. Alright, so for this next section we got to do the walls. There's something very specific. You have the notch there and there for the trusses, and you want to put this bar on the left side of that notch. That's the top side, this is the bottom side. This got very confusing when going through the instructions because they all look very similar. But up there at the top you have 2 double holes. You want that to go to the top, to the bottom, left of that notch. There's 5 of these wall panels that we have to put together. And the reason it's not 6 is because we have one that you can't see out of screen, but has the window in it. So we just got to screw all these in. And you're going to want bag IDFLU, a whole bunch of screws. And you're going to want to use the smaller ones for this, not the long ones. We'll get to that here in a minute. So in this wall panel with the window, we have a shorter support, and this is a little bit interesting. We have 4 side nubs here so that you know where they go. You're going to do the shorter piece facing down and the longer side on top, otherwise it's not going to fit right. Then we take these longer screws, there's 4 of them in our package, and then we'll side screw them in. And this is going to be a pain in the butt. Okay, got that one. So these are our 2 front corner pieces. We have AGN and AGY. It's good to put them both the same direction so you can get a coordinated going. We have 2 more of these bars. On the AGN, it goes to the left side and the 2 holes go to the bottom. On AGY, it goes to the right side with the 2 holes at the top. This is how I did it, so that I made sure I got everything lined up, double check the instructions, because this is one corner and this is the other corner for structural support, and I just want to make sure I didn't screw it up too terribly bad. So AGN goes on the left and the 2 holes are at the bottom. AGY, it's on the right and the 2 holes go to the top. So after all that, we're finally ready to put the walls on. We're going to start on the right side, and we're going to get the, I think it's AGY, but note we have the support here, and this is going to slide in to this bottom part here somehow, and then you'll slide, it's supposed to slide it in. I think that's good. I guess we got to readjust that. And then bend it. And then this isn't a slide in because you see these 2 squares. You just bring it all the way over. And then just put a lot of force, and there we go. First one is in and ready to go. All right, so for the next part, we're actually ready to start putting up the walls, but I want to take a minute here. If you look over here, you look over to the side, I've pre-laid out everything for the walls. I really recommend you take 5-10 minutes, move everything to the area that you need it so that you can just start standing things up. And so we're going to do this wall to that corner, and then we're going to do that wall and that wall, the windows on that side. Anyway, we're going to just do the standard piece without the windows in the middle here. Then we'll do another corner without the support, 2 standard pieces, a corner without the support, and then we're going to do the window standard piece and then the corner with the support. And we should be good for the walls. So let's get started. Okay. Apparently wasn't hitting it hard enough. Okay, so that's a thing. That really hurt too. Oh, come on. It worked in the video.
could go over. There's a big old
Oh,
space.
hold on.
Okay. No.
I just gotta kick it. Ow!
The bottom still isn't in.
Oh, hold on. Oh, okay. So, okay, that's what's going on in that one. Okay. Okay. Oh, there we go. Double check down there, and this panel is AGW to make sure you get the right one. Then we'll kick it over. We'll bend this one over. And yeah. Might have to push it down a little to get it to line up. And is it in? And it's in. Okay, that's in place. We'll kick it. Okay. Why? I don't know. Oh, I think I see what's going on with that. Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. All right. Window time. That was the plan. That's part of the plans, but in place. Yep. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
I think it's fine. So now with this panel, we have the support on the left side. Stepped on a T-post.
Yeah, go one more.
And
Go back there one. The big hole right there.
Alright, please excuse the weird camera angles for these next few parts because it's a really narrow camera angle and I got a small space. So the next part is putting up a shelf. You're going to need bag BHH and it's going to have brackets and screws. So these can actually go a number of places. You can put it here, put it up here. You can royally mess it up. Anyway, put it here, you can put it down here. I mean, all different areas. Biggest thing is you're going to want to support, actually, looking at the sides here, there's only screw holes for 3 locations. This, and this. So we're going to go ahead and put it up top. So if we put chemicals up here, then it's not going to let the kids be able to easily get to it. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. That was weird, but whatever. Okay, cool. So the next part is the shelf itself. Flat end here is going to go up. We want to bend these little knobbies on both sides so that we have something to screw through. There we go. And then the other side is there's these little notches on one side to be able to allow for area up there. We're on the wrong side currently. So I got to flip this around and then we'll put this up here. So interestingly, I'm not sure why this step is at this point, other than maybe it adds structural integrity to the whole thing. I don't know. So let's screw these into place. So again, I think this is for structural integrity, so take your time, make sure you get them in the right nubs. I'm going to start on the outside here so it pushes that way against the wall. So line up for that nub there. It's in perfect. There we go. So now we have that on the back. Look how much more rigid that is. So when we attach it to the wall here, it's just gonna firm it up. I'll be honest, the plan's called to do the outside pieces first, and I did not. So I did it backwards a little bit. So one thing that is interesting while I do this is I'm trying to line up again the nubs, because I don't know in the injection molded process if they added extra plastic in those spots so that it could get a good firm connection or not. So I'm just making sure, just gonna take my time with it and get it right. Well, that busted through, that's different. I wish they didn't have this extra plastic. Okay, got it on the, okay. Okay, the whole thing's a little more rigid. It's still floppy, but it's better. We're good. All right, the next section we're gonna do is the doors. Right here is where we're gonna put that pipe in right there. And there's a cotter pin. So we've got to hold the door, shove the pipe, go through the cotter pin. It's gonna be a pain on both sides, and that should kind of hold it up for the most part. We're gonna do this door, then we're gonna do that door, and then the gable goes on top of that to secure it all in place. So let's get started. And you're gonna need BHZ, the bag. This is what it looks like. All right, you wanna pick it up, try to put it in place. I think, yeah, I gotta go in. We're gonna have to go inside. I think what we're gonna need, hold on, pause. I think what might make this easier is a block of some sort. I think so, a little. Okay, hold on, don't move. So my camera overheated and I didn't get the part on getting the cotter pins. Basically, line up the holes, you shove it into the base, and you should be good. Just kind of get it in there. If you see daylight through the other side, you shove the cotter pin in and you're good. Don't drop the cotter pin and lose it. I had to go get a spare one, so that was a good time. Next, we're gonna do the gable. I'm gonna hold this right here, and my amazing wife is gonna go get the gable and put it on top. It'll slide over these poles right here on either side. All right, you wanna go get it?
Oh, there it is. Oh my, the inside is so hot.
Okay, hold on. I got this.
Okay, that one's very fine.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we are good. Now I just gotta screw it all in. Okay, I think you can get down off of there. Okay, you push on the middle. There we go. That was a good one. Oh, come on. Okay, well, it's...
Got it?
Yeah, I guess. Crap, this is another one that just stripped it out. Can you push up here? Yeah, it's not gonna... That one's gonna fall out too.
Both of them?
No.
Just one?
Okay, we're almost done with this section, but I did make a mistake and I wanted to call out. When I did these, I actually did a smaller screw and a smaller screw. So there's different size screws in this pack. The different size screws are for these things here, and this was super confusing. We use the smaller screws. This will have ridges or kind of indentions, and that'll go in there to cover that bar there. And yeah, that was annoying, but yeah, that's what that does. All right, so we're finally ready to start putting the roof on. We have the front gable on. We're not gonna worry about the back until we get to that part. So we got the first truss we're ready to put up. We have these looped ends, and then we have notches, as you can see way over here, that it'll fit in. So we'll knock it in here, and then we'll lift up the other side and push it down in there. I think it's gonna end up self-adjusting whenever we put the roof panels on and we get everything screwed in and knobbed up and everything. Okay, so the next step is I'm gonna have the person helping me is going to shove a roof panel on up the side. And also, this is going to be your bag. It's the fuzz bag.
I'm not sure exactly.
I know. Hold on. Okay. Hold on one second. Okay, supposedly there's a nub there. Okay. And hold on.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hold on. Ah, it just moved. Okay. I guess that's good on that spot. There we go, there. I don't see a... Okay, there we go. Okay, hold on. So we want to start by screwing in these holes. This stupid extra plastic. Okay, no, I don't actually, hold on. Oh no, we need to go way up there more.
Okay.
Oh, I see, okay. Hold on.
Now we're over the edge almost.
I know, okay. Hold on. Okay, are you holding on to it?
I am holding on.
Okay, I'm making sure.
I understand.
I'm asking questions.
I agree. I'm just holding it.
Okay, there's that. And then, oh, this has got to get...
So you're like past the edge of this thing. I feel like you're too far.
I know, hold on, I'm trying to...
I just am telling you.
This is super, like, confusing.
I agree.
Because...
Do we need to watch the video again? Just this part?
No.
Okay. You okay?
Here, let me have this piece here. Let me look at it. Something's off. Okay, so we have our alignment nub. That's a screw hole. That's a screw hole. Okay, I think we're there.
Okay, if you're a little cockeyed.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think we're going to have to screw it in on one side.
Okay.
And then, well, fudge.
Maybe we have the truss too far in.
Maybe. I don't know. Hold on. See, that's not lining up. On.
Careful.
Ah! See, like, it's not even right. It's out of alignment. Oh well, whatever. It's a shed. Who cares?
Okay. You might have.
So I might have accidentally not hit record. So let me do a run through. I was getting mad on this side. It sucked. Well, I had gotten this wrong because the instructions just said put it up there and do something. Well, there's a line that this is supposed to fit in. I still missed a little bit even after redoing it. And so you got to put this panel in here, slide it into that slot. Then these will actually line up to a spot to go ahead and screw it in. So I pulled all these out and redid this one. It's a lot better. I figured it out on this side where we got everything actually in there and lined up, so it's all fitting correctly now. Stupid annoying, but it is what it is. Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna. The thing. Hold on, this needs to come out. On this whole. There we go. That one there. Okay. There we go. Awesome. That one's good. Yeah, there you go. Okay, oh crap, you went too far. I think that's as much as we're gonna get it. Oh, there we go. Got that spot. Awesome. Thank you. We're rolling. And our 5.0. So we're gonna line it up where, these go in that slot. And then these go on the inside here on both sides. There we go. And we're good. We're popped in. Okay, if you could hold on to it, continue. All right, I think we're good. Okay, awesome. Can you grab that corner there and pull down a little? Okay, hold.
Felt like it went in something.
Yeah. There we go. Hold on. Oh, it's just not quite long enough arms. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Ow! Looked right at the sun. Okay. 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 This is annoying. Okay.
Do you need me to bang it?
Hold on. I will, yes.
In a position.
Okay, hold on. Awesome. Okay, you're gonna bang it. Okay. Okay, can you pull down on the side closest to the truss? There we go. Push in on the wall. There you go. Yeah, just like that. There we go. What the frack? It's like the thing is, this rod is too long. Why is this so much more complicated than the last one? Okay. All right, you're good. There we go. I don't understand this rod here, but whatever. So I have amazing lighting. I'm not gonna get a lot of amazing shots in this last section, but I did kind of want to go over kind of one last little time on the roof here, go over a couple of things as a recap. This roof did not go together well, in my opinion. I felt like things were off. So specifically, there is a part here that should go into a groove, but the part where you actually screw in, it was supposed to go into the holes, at least for mine, weren't right, and so it's slightly off, and so I had to like punch through on that. It also happened on the back side of the eave as well. So because of that, just things weren't lining up 100% well, and I'm actually a little nervous about the peak, but we'll get to that when we get to it. This was able to get lined up on the sides, on both sides at the base, and it went in pretty well. What we had to do on the rafters here on the second set is we had to kind of like bang them in the middle because they were kind of sticking out a little. So those are a couple of the things that we had to do to get it all to work properly. Overall, we got it done. It wasn't as smooth as the lifetime video of the manufacturer doing this, but it is coming along and we're ready to do the peak. And let me show you a couple of things about that. First, we're going to start on an end, and it's going to be this piece. It's going to bend in the middle, and then the skylight's going to go in here. This part is going to go through the middle section, and we will do two of these, and we'll lay this, I think, on top of the other thing. Yeah, it kind of is a kind of a tie and groove. It just fits in here like that. Pretty cool. Like it should fit. And so as long as everything else is correct, it should secure down. And then there's a couple of holes in the middle of the thing. It should work. So let's give it a shot. So yeah, AGG in this case goes to the front. Double check your instructions. It'll make your life a little easier. Also, another thing that I've fought in a lot of cases is like right here, it has extra plastic. A lot of the stuff has had plastic still covering it in a very thin layer, so I have a hard time seeing through it and getting through to know what to screw into. So that's a note of some of this extra plastic just to be aware of. So if we'll get this on here, we'll start in this case because we can on the outside. Right, it's gonna fit. This is gonna be a pain, I can tell. Just line it up there. There we go. Okay, that's gonna fit there too. All right. Got to do some acrobatics. There we go. That's in there. Now we're going to go with the middle one of AFY. And both of these centerpieces are the same, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. Okay, so that locks that in. This is good and smooth. So this piece went on fine. This piece we just lay over the top and it overlaps here. And then this part is going to go through three pieces. This piece, and this piece to get it all lined up properly. And so they have a hole. There we go, and it clicked into place. This is still good, and I think we're in good shape. So in this case, it lines up the truss a little better for these holes here, here, and here. So we'll screw that in next. Just got to manipulate it a little bit here and there. Next piece. Something to note is, again, we want this part here to lay over this part here, so it has the layover piece. Do the middle here. Yeah, you're not getting a good view at all. So basically I had to screw in this one again that goes over. This part overlaps this part. I did on both sides. Screw this one in. Then you have two right here. There's a ridge here that sits right on top of this truss, and you screw it in there. I'm actually a little nervous about this piece because it's on that peak and it's hanging outside, and we've got to get it through this groove here. It's not a fun one to do. This hole here where it's supposed to go seems to be just narrow enough that the threads on the screws can grab hold and suck it in. Sometimes it just doesn't want to. There's just other issues involved. Maybe if I do this part. There we go. These right here, these aren't lined up all that well, so I've got to try to thread a needle. Okay, not that screw. Got to thread a needle in a sense to get it. There we go. Okay, that's just the best we're going to be able to do for this. Like this top part here, it's just kind of stripped out a little. I mean, I've got it in the other places. We're just going to have to deal with it the way it is. And then the skylight is going to have to help hold it together, which is what we're moving on to next. So we fold it in half, kind of stick it through. They give you these little nubs to grab onto with your hands and pull it in. You just do the best you can there. So one thing I've seen people do is use pliers to hold on to it. So that's what we're gonna do. I really recommend getting this point with magnet in it so it holds on to it whenever you do, and make this life a lot easier. Okay. What you've got to really do for this is get one on each side, and you got it made in the shade. Make sure the hole lines up. There we go. So at this point, because we have this and it's not fitting like 100% perfect, probably if I get a strong wind this direction, it's gonna push water up in here. It's probably not a big deal. We'll just have to keep an eye on it. Same thing with this. Like this spot here is super annoying. So something went off, so just be careful, especially around your lines right here that go into the eave. Like something is off somewhere just enough to make this happen. Like, I mean, it's not that far off, it's just barely. So just be careful. All right, I'm gonna be honest, this next step is probably the hardest one of all. This bag EDH, it's these clips. They just kind of clip in like this. So you just have these and you just spread them right around wherever you want. I'm just gonna put them on this wall and I'll figure out where I want them to go later. All right, the last step is this window, and then we will be functionally complete. You're gonna need bag BEJ. It's this little small one. Comes with a bracket for here and here, and then also a screw for here. And then you're gonna need the window and a screwdriver. So let's get about getting this in. First thing you're gonna wanna do is peel off all this stuff. So this is supposedly a window that you can slide up and all that crap, which kind of seems cool, except I'll show you why that's weird here in a second. All right, there's a bend in it right here. It was up and over. That bend is gonna go this direction. You're gonna put it up top, and then we're gonna slide it in. Gotta be sure it bends. And then it's gonna go down grooves right here. I guess we got, okay, we got a stop pot in case we wanna go there. Get it just up a little bit, there we go. And then you can slide it up and down. Is this little screw here, like, is it still supposed to? I guess so. I guess you can go up, and then if you want to go up higher, you can screw this in more. I don't know. It's weird. Or I guess you can go a little further in to get some resistance on it. I don't know. It's weird. I think the battery's about to die again. So I'm just going to do here. You're going to do these on here. They're gonna. You want to do these here. You're supposed to slide back and forth, but this one doesn't slide all that well. Hey, so it's later in the day and I wanted to talk about a couple of things with you real fast. So I had a lot of trouble with heat on this camera, so I'm not sure everything that happened. So let's give a recap of putting on this whole thing. A couple of things. The side walls were actually pretty simple to get on. Those went fairly well as long as you basically placed your corners right. They aren't universal corners. You have to put specific ones in these back two, and then on the front two they have supports. So that wasn't too bad. Putting in the trusses is really confusing about how much space, but as long as you line up, I missed a bolt right there. As long as you line up the little nubs right there, and then over here on this one as well, then you're pretty much good, and you should be able to see the hole through here. One of the issues is these holes sometimes have plastic, so you've got to deal with that. But once you get that, it kind of all starts forming together, and you get a pretty good rundown of getting it in and locked into place. Putting the roof on here isn't too bad. These all went pretty well. There was only one on this side that seemed to be too big, which was weird. This whole section right here, it gave me a lot of problems for a lot of various reasons. The only thing that really didn't go well is this section here. There's that and that. Actually, those screws don't go all the way through, and you can't really tell it very well, but there's kind of this gap where this thing should be, and I'm not sure what's out of alignment because everything lines up. I almost think it's a manufacturing issue because everything else lines up in the exact place that it needs to go, but there's still an issue right there and an issue right there. So maybe I messed something up, maybe not, I don't know, but that is an issue, but it's not a big one that I need to be concerned about, because at the end of the day it all screwed down and it all kind of secured in place. The lights here, skylights, those are fairly simple. Those are something my battery did actually, or my camera did actually go down because of heat at the very end. Basically, you just shove them in through, pull them in, hold them down with the pliers. And one secret is, in my opinion, is to put the peak ones in first and then put your side in. I had one where I put it in the side and couldn't get the other side until I realized the peak holes weren't going through properly. So there is that. Other than that, like, it went reasonably well as long as you get this side on the front and back where the gable is in the actual slot that's supposed to be there, and don't try to put it somewhere else, and you should be pretty good to go. So we're finally done. I wanted to mention two things. One is this door was actually out of alignment. It was kind of cocked this direction. And so what we did is we took shims and we shimmed up underneath this side of the door, and surprisingly that fixed it. I was a little unsure whether that would actually do anything, but it actually worked out really well. The other shim I put in place was right here to help pop up this door so it gets a good connection there, but apparently that shim wasn't doing anything, so I just lost it. Anyway, the next thing we have to do is we have to go inside and bolt it all the way around, and then we are officially done with the shed. So really the last thing to do is to secure this thing to the actual deck below. In that case, I got these bolts. I recommend you look in your instructions to see what you got, see what you should get. These are 3/8 inch that I got. And we just put them in this hole right here. There's a little nub to start it in. I got an impact, so let's just screw them in. There we go. That should stay. And so I'm not going to show you me putting all of these in. It's basically that 5 more times. Got one in that corner, one in this corner here, and then the exact mirror of that one in that corner, and on that side. So with that, the shed is completely done and ready to start putting stuff in here. Hey, I just want to thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed seeing the assembly of this shed. If you would, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up if you liked it or got anything useful out of it. I really appreciate your time, and join me next time as we build something else.